See here, might stop covering this for a while. We don't really have the strong bullish intentions. We got to where we wanted to, and now we're basically at a zone where, you know, the 40 failed yesterday. It came back to the 38.82. We know this is a very critical little zone for it to come off, but we haven't seen that turnaround. And I do prefer AMC to the long side whenever possible, unless it cracks through really key supports. And we know there's like a key support around this 32, but we get underneath 38. I kind of feel like 32 is incoming, and then we could be boring for a while we base form with the hodlers around there. So AMC, not really a trade here as far as I see it technically, unless you're wanting to look for the short side. And the long side, it's really at the last point before it goes really further down back to that 32. You close underneath this little like indecision candle, all of a sudden you go back to the 32 and you start talking about having to create the base we saw over here, which created all that nice movement over there. That's how we kind of look at AMC. If we take a look at the actual algo flow, it was generally positive with the stock, and the stock was kind of sideways. So yeah, it wasn't shocking. However, it's not exactly strong. It has to find base support here. Let's move over to some of the other indices. We'll check out IWM to start with, the Russell 2000. A lot of people like this one. I'm not a fan of trading it, but I do like, of course, the option strategies on it. I think they're a lot better. If we have a look here, we have the 220 as a resistance. If we close above the 220, then we can move back to the 225, the 230. Every $5 kind of matters. And at this stage, it's looking more towards that short side, that 210, 208. If you're not aware already, IWM has been in a monster channel. If we take a look at the weekly, you'll see it is literally stuck in the middle of nowhere land for quite some time. In fact, all year it's been stuck in this channel. Imagine if we broke out to the upside. That would be phenomenal for IWM, but it hasn't happened yet. We're stuck in the middle, and you can see it's literally the middle of the range, so nothing much. Let's take a look at US 100. So we discussed the point that the S&P 500 was right at resistance. Hey, what do you know? So was the NASDAQ. You can see here previous resistance acted as a level of resistance. Again, it makes perfect sense that it would sell off this level. We talked about the bears fighting it out here. This is exactly where they're going to want to do it. And if we take a look now at the NDX, which is, of course, got the gaps in it because it's the real market, not the futures market, you'll notice that it filled that gap. So it filled the gap down, shorted off. And if we get now a new high past this point, so these points are, let's call it, we probably want to get about 15,170. If we get above 15,170, what we've done is we've effectively created that. And where do we expect it to fill to? The gap zone. Very nice participation trade should it go bullish. If it keeps going bearish, that 14.8 is pretty heavy support buying for the week. And I expect it to take more buying bounces off there if it is going to happen. And realistically, underneath that zone, well, it opens up some very interesting levels. That's when you start looking at your SPY and you start saying, well, are we really in for the proper correction? I mean, if we go to the SPX here, which is always probably the best major support resistance kind of finder, and we start talking about the next key levels, we're talking about this 42.50 zone after that new low. I mean, you can see it clearly. Resistance, support. That's going to be an area that people are looking at in the markets. It's not really, it's still in the middle of nowhere land in terms of the moving averages. And the deepest I think we go, unless some catastrophe happens, is going to be around here, 4,050. That would be a phenomenal level. Previous strong buying, great psychological zone, and more importantly, the 50 exponential moving average weekly. One of the most common pullback moving averages for the deeper pullbacks of the year. Look, 50, 50, 50. We love the 50 back in history. This is what happened during 2012 to 2015. Look at these 50s. That was the best it got. 20s on the weekly, the common one, the mean reversion, or the 50s. Sometimes you get deeper, but in general, these are incredible levels. So we'll be watching these ones very closely. I want to let you guys know that we'll be covering on the channel, of course, to help you out. Other than that, I think that the market is clearly paying a little bit of funny business. The futures a bit up, down, and all around. You can see there's a lot of trap for that buy the dip scenario, most likely attacking leverage, attacking options on the weeklies. I actually am more of a fan of taking options over the longer term, maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months. My average would be around there. The reason why is you can let your plans play out a little bit better. Sometimes you need to go quick and sharp, but you know what I mean. How many people have lost money trying to trade for a 2-day option? Options are great for securing your risk as well, because of course the debit side can be good. But yeah, just be careful there, guys. The options market is sneaky, and you've got to know how to navigate it a little bit better if you can. BTC, US dollar. This has been a bit of a terrible chart, really. It ended up closing low, back down at the previous resistances here. And, I mean, what do you say about BTC? It's pretty doldrummy right now. It's nothing really fantastic. You've got Ethereum going to that 28. So that's that next level of support. It's gone straight down there to the resistance becomes support level. It's got to do some turning. I mean, now I think Ethereum is probably the easier chart to look at than even BTC itself. You've got kind of like Ethereum rallying now to 3,000. It's going to find sellers here, you would think, sell off a bit. If it gets through 3,000, does the lightning bolt, then you can take it to the next level. It's not the easiest in terms of these key levels. I don't know why exactly it's getting so much weaker. You could say it's news related and everything like that, but I think it's also part of the seasonal. I still have plans for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others into the October-November period. Remember, Thanksgiving leading up into that has been historically very strong during bullish years of the cryptocurrencies like it is right now. And we've even got things like Cardano sitting on that $2 big, strong support level buying zone. You know, Cardano really trying to put that base in it too. Big psychological area. It has to hold. And if it doesn't, you know, let the floodgates back open, because it's going to come right back down. Be nimble, be quick in the markets right now, guys, because there isn't really a great swing unless you're swinging down and going with that longer term kind of short trend that's happening here. If you're looking for the buys, you've got to be nimble and quick. There's no base formations coming into these markets just yet. Another thing that you'll be wanting to think about is, of course, we have a few big bits of news coming out. If we go to Forex Factory, quickly leave and go over here and we look at the week ahead, we do have the FOMC statement and economic projections coming out 2 p.m. New York time on Wednesday. Then we have the press conference 2:30 p.m. So that'll be something that moves the market. And of course, we've got Fed Chair Powell coming out on Friday as well. So the news is coming. The market's in the indecision point. It hopefully makes some decision to either fill that gap up in terms of the S&P 500 or come back down to the 430 on the SPY. And I think it's exciting. It's great times here to be nimble and be quick. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe and, of course, smash that like button. It does help us out quite a lot. And are you a bull or a bear in the markets right now? Let us know in the comments down below. Bye for now.